and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Frazier Garner, do I just skip?
I think once he's marked absent, you skip, right?
Okay. Mr. John Goff,
Yes.
Janelle James, yes. Mrs. Tessa Keys, I skip. Mrs. Mandy Lopez,
Yes.
Mr. Rob Phillips.
Yes.
No, you can just call the mayor first.
Cheryl.
Yes. Oh, sorry, I was waiting for you to call. All right, do we have any correspondence? They give you any letters or notes to read?
Sure. We have one thing, a thank you card. Dear Harmony 175, the family of Nancy McCollum thanks you for your kind expression of sympathy. Thank you very much for the beautiful floral arrangement for my mother-in-law. And this is from Susan McCollum and family.
Thank you. All right, return to school plan?
Yep. So actually, until about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did not realize we were going to have to do this again until we got a notice from the state saying that if you would like to receive your funding, you need to have a reopening plan again for this year. So we sat down, kind of compared our old plan compared to what Barney's firm had kind of drafted up for all of his clients as well. Tweaked what we needed to. But yes, I do want to do a reopening plan because that's a lot of federal dollars that are at stake if we do not, which we've done a lot of interventions in. I know the ladies are going to talk about some of those that we've done over the summer. But in terms of what's changed since spring, very little. In terms of what our plan is, what our approach will be, masks will remain optional. Physical distancing continues to be encouraged and enforced where possible. We're still emphasizing hand washing and sneezing, coughing etiquette. Continuously cleaning and disinfecting. We'll continue to utilize our spray machine that we've done with the misting. In the flow chart that the CDC and IDPH released, was it about 2 weeks ago they came up with that new chart? Very similar to last spring, with one big exception that we saw, which is allowing home tests as evidence now for showing a negative result. That was not allowed prior, but they are allowing home tests now, which if everybody put in for their free ones, I know we put in for each free one, they were available to everybody through the government if you had asked for your home tests. The remote plan, so if you have to be quarantined, if you are positive and have to be quarantined for the period of 5 days or more, we'll provide either a variety that's listed in that plan, whether it's the packets again, or asynchronous, or kind of depending on the teacher, but there's a variety of ways and methods we'll try to reach those kids, that they will be allowed to make up their work and not penalized for missing. So very similar to what we did as last year as well. So no real changes in that either. Questions from you guys before we open? Did I miss anything? Teresa?
No, I would just say the other thing that's kind of changing with that is we're going back to if you have a symptom, symptoms count as you have to show a negative test result or a doctor's note. That went away last month and a half of school. You could just call in sick again like normal as long as you're fever free and didn't have something for 24 hours you can come back. Now you have to show, if you call in and you have one of the COVID symptoms, you have to have a negative test result. Or you have to wait the 5 days, or you can have a doctor's note with an alternate diagnosis.
And we are still doing, we do still have testing available for staff and so if you're at school though, if you're at school,
So if your daughter would come to the nurse and say she
has a
had
headache?
a headache, she's out for 5 days, unless you would do a COVID test. It is a game changer and be able to have an at-home test now.
Yeah. I was just curious, like what symptoms if you're present at school, what symptoms, like if you start sneezing in the classroom,
sneezing, it's due to seasonal allergies, but yeah, our nurses have done. They've become very good at recognizing and dealing with those.
Because I could just see parents saying, don't ever go to the nurse, we don't have,
No,
like,
it's- yeah.
like I was just curious.
Yeah, it is.
But
It's-
our nurses are trained for that, and that's
it's- I think with the rise and with this new variant, it's one little step, but the nice thing is that you can at least use the home
Yeah.
test, which is big for families. That's it though.
I don't have any other questions or comments on that. Anyone else? So then we can open it up to the public and employee comments related to the return of school plan. Right. Just
Yes.
related to that because we have our normal,
You'll have a.
yeah, we have our normal.
This is just for the plan.
Yep. Anyone in our audience? Any questions or comments related to the back to school plan? All right, having heard none, we will move on to reports and informational items, and we'll start with the superintendent's report.
Yeah, registration is coming up this week on Thursday, so the question that we've asked the last several years, except the last couple are a little different. Do you guys want a table? We have a table set aside if the board would like to be present, or to, either I know Rob has showed up before and had questions or talked with people, but if you guys would like a table, we can reserve that for you. If not, we can just put that table away.
What time is registration?
9 to 12 and 2 to 7.
How many people do you expect would actually show up at that?
Not many. The last couple of years, it's become very fine-tuned with being able to do it online, and now with you being able to send your artifacts and evidence online is even easier. So it's not many, even when we didn't have that, it wasn't unfortunately a whole lot. I would estimate we'll probably get 20%. Yeah.
I know like when we did that, when I was there, it seemed like we had a pretty good number of people that came through. But if you're saying it's gonna be a lot less.
Yeah, I would say each year for the last 4 or 5 since we've implemented the online aspect, it's gone down 3, 4, 5% every year.
Because if we did do anything like that, what I would kind of say we could try to do is get people interested in the committees, trying to get more people to say, hey, why don't you be a member of one of our committees? It's fair, there looks like there'll probably be a bunch of openings the next election as well. And in turn, that would allow us to bring some of those people, help get them ready, so hopefully they'll run, stuff like that. And then
At the beginning of the year, we'll try to do that, how to get involved in that sheet again, but yeah, I just wanted, completely up to you guys, the board, if you want to have a table, it's a board-run table.
I'm not able to take off during the day, so the earliest I could get here would be like 5:15 to do that last.
And if you can't do the whole thing, if you can't do the whole thing, it's okay. Even if you show up and you say, hey, I can be here for an hour or 2 hours, we'll have a table ready for you guys if you want to be there for even part of the time.
How do we feel? Do we want to staff one? Do we want, if we can't staff one, is it possible that we put a quick thing together that
We can
would
have it.
just be at the table, like about, do we have the committee?
I have that, it has the different committees and ways to get involved.
Do we want to just make that available, or do we actually want to try to come in person?
I probably wouldn't be able to make it this year, but if people are willing to be there, I do know people tend to stop if somebody's at that table, at least get you a chance to start talking to them and to let them know that, hey, we're really looking for people to be more involved with what we're doing. And that may actually get people then if they just see a table, but I'm open to whatever you guys want to do.
Maybe what do you think?
I'm open to whatever, I can be available. With my crazy schedule, I can probably do the morning, or if you're gonna do the afternoon, I mean, we can switch, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, or at least just have a table, like you said, with information out there, so at least when they're walking through,
Yeah. How would I do this? It sounds like there might be some interest. We're going to reserve a table, just in case. And if not, if anything, we'll put information on it. And then I'll send out a little simple Google sign-up sheet for you guys, and if you can make it, put your names in. If not, it's okay. Does that sound good? Perfect.
That's what we want. All the good ideas.
Okay. Next, we have about 95% of our outdoor classroom done, so if if you were able to stop by before the meeting, great. If not, it's going to be there for a while, so it's not like you're missing anything. There's one big component we're still looking for, and that's a center shade aspect. It can get very, very hot out there in the middle. So we are looking for some type of sail or a pergola or something that will provide shade for the kiddos and teachers if they use it out there. But that's our last.
Maybe you can find a scout, girl or boy, that wants to do the project.
We thought about that. We're really looking a few places. The first company we looked at, the sale wasn't so bad. It's what they wanted to charge for labor that I was like, you're out of your mind. 150% cost for labor costs. I said, we don't do that. So we're looking. And the other one is, I know I've included Rochelle on a couple emails to our union leadership, but right now I'm in the process of, again, looking for the second year in a row at insurance options. You guys know a couple months ago I talked to you about, we were hit with Tier 4, which is a 17% increase on our premiums next year. And I don't foresee that based on the history, which is really based on a lot of prescriptions right now. The prescription drugs and pharmacy is killing our loss ratio right now. I don't see it going down next year either. It could be hit with another big increase next year. So I am looking, trying to explore other ways. There's another co-op in central Illinois that I'm hopeful for, but also trying to pool our lives with the rest of Metro East. Similar access to healthcare and facilities. If we can pull our lives together in kind of a Metro East co-op, it could be beneficial for our employees in the district as well. So more to come on that, but just trying to ease the burden on, especially our teachers who will need some of that 17% increase on premiums. So that's it for me.
All right, thanks. Mrs. Lentz, with the report for Ellis.
Do you guys want to go together?
We're gonna go together. We're gonna talk about summer school.
So this is, the summer school for the last 2 years is one of the things we've been able to afford with the ESSER CARES money in terms of providing extended learning opportunities and trying to close the gap for some of our kiddos. So we have some preliminaries.
So in your packet, some of the grade levels look a little bit different just because of, since it was a shorter time span, we used a couple different things. So we did use Fontes and Pinnell for kindergarten. And these are their beginning and end marks. If the kiddos are green, that means that they showed progress during our 3-week summer school program. If they are red, that means they went backwards. If they are yellow, they stayed the same. So for kindergarten, we use Fontes and Pinnell at the beginning and at the end. And then for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade, we were able to use Fontes and Pinnell as well as Moby Max Math. So we were able to kind of look at a couple of different skills in that. So that just kind of shows you our beginning scores and our ending scores. Almost all of our kiddos were in the green. We did have a couple of kiddos with attendance issues, and that makes up for the majority of the students that did not show growth during that 3-week summer school program.
If you keep flipping, you will get to 3rd and 4th grade. In the top, or 4th and 5th, sorry, in the top left-hand corner, you'll see it says 1-5. We did it overall math, overall ELA, and we broke it down by reading level, reading strategies, vocabulary, numbers, and operation. So you can see the June dates are where they tested in June, and then you can see we did a middle midpoint, and then we did an end point. So green, you can see that they go up, yellow obviously is the same, and green would be going down. So each of the students were tested in those areas, which is awesome. Very happy with this chart.
And they were able to use IXL at the upper grade levels, but going into this next year, we will have that all the way, that program all the way down to 1st grade.
Go ahead and go to the next one. And here you're going to see 6th grade. 4th and 5th were combined. 6th grade was a group on their own. Here we just looked at overall IXL reading levels and overall IXL ELA levels. And then we looked at, hold on, I said that backwards. Reading, overall ELA, overall math. Again, they tested in June on the 1st day and they tested on the last day.
Why do some of them show a range?
Are you talking about like here?
Like on the very first column, 3rd one down, it's got 360/410. Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't typically get a range, it should be a solid.
All right, so it's kind of weighing also like the very last one, that the 400 is right in the middle of that range.
Yep, that's what it is. It's not a fully completed, but they still give you a range on the ones that are completed.
Okay, so theoretically, could have gone up or could have stayed the same or could have gone down.
If in any of that, you were correct. The last page you're gonna see is seventh grade. Seventh grade as well, we did a couple different, we did, math, and we looked at just how quickly can you solve your math facts, basic multiplication, basic division. So that is their scores all the way through. This was one of the areas that we tracked during the school year as well. So you're gonna see the spring number 2, because we just were curious where they started in the spring and where they started in summer school and moved forward. That's why you see that spring column on that one. Again, they did math, IXL, ELA, IXL reading, and then you're gonna see that IXL completion. So these, for 7th grade, we were able to target the areas that they needed and push out individual lessons. This is the percentage of making it 80% or above the completion of what we set them. And their goal, your target goal really is about 80%. And then we did our weekly math assessment, which is not done on the computer, that was done just on paper and pencil, and we averaged those out as well. Overall, great growth for that group of some graders as well. Summer school overall was very successful. We were very pleased. We had some dedicated, great, amazing teachers teaching as well. So very grateful for everyone who stepped up to teach summer school. We were very happy with how it turned out.
Yeah, and the important thing to remember is the green doesn't mean they're on level, it just means they grew. Because almost, I would say, all of these kids,
But it's like 8
I'm
times.
confused by the growth. So, what is this?
It's not this, you're trying to add these up. It's not. It's total growth of the program, what they increased. It's not these two
I'm like,
combined.
I can't, these
No.
numbers.
It's not.
No, that's not-
It's not.
but as I was saying, these are not the kids who are at level. You're struggling, you need help, but these are also the kids most prone to a huge summer slide. So the fact that we can give them extended learning opportunities and some enrichment during the summer to keep for the vast majority from hitting that slide for at least half of the summer makes it a lot easier when we come back in the fall to address those needs and continue closing the gap. So thank you guys for sharing that.
And you know, what this says to me, and I mean, I already know this as an educator, but when you have small group focused instruction, we can close that gap. And so whenever we think about adding a teacher or a staff member for just a year, and how are we gonna pay for it, like, this is the stuff I think of, like, okay, we might not be able to maintain it for 2 or 3 years, but if we can afford it for 1 year, like, you know what I'm saying?
That's all right, because I think Chris and I just had that conversation about an extra section in the primary grades of if we can afford it now, why not put it at 60 kids?
And that was like one of the things, like when we first, I'm sorry, it's not time for us to talk. Is it time for us to talk?
We're done.
So-
That was our only
Yeah.
talking.
Oh,
You're very
Here's
proud
probably all
of
that
us.
they were talking about, so.
when we first got here, like I sung the praises of this district because it was taught the way I feel elementary should be taught. The bulk of the time was spent on ELA and math, and I've always, my personal belief is, if you can compute and you can read, then all the other stuff comes. If we teach you to think critically in ELA, you're going to be able to think critically in social studies and science. And I loved that we did social studies and science, seasonally, right? Our K through 2, pre-K through 2 kids, they focused on that. It was really, really heavy in ELA and math. And I don't see that where I am. Our district, we try to test them too quickly in science and social. social studies, it's my soapbox now, but if we don't give them that foundational in the younger grades, it's too hard to make up later. It's too hard. And there are too many studies, you guys already know it, there are too many studies that our kids are not getting the vocabulary they need in their home. They're not being exposed to, like, I'm really gonna date myself, nursery rhymes and, you know, I mean, 1-year-olds know how to operate a smartphone. So like, you know, so if we can invest in them at that younger age and those smaller class sizes and really hit the, I know there's different letters now, the RTI or the NTS, whatever. Like that's, you know, even if it's just for a year. I mean, we see what a short amount of time in the summer school program did. So great work. I love data. All right, that's all. Sorry. And that was really your only report.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not much happening over the summer.
There's a lot happening. over
There's a
there.
lot.
We
The
did
floors
that.
are being cleaned and
Well, not to be recorded, it's
We've done a lot. We've spent hours and hours getting prepared for next year.
This is the crazy time.
right.
But make sure you look at the eagle outside because it's cute.
And it's been redone 4 times, so.
Yes.
I
But
was
it's
watching every night when I drove. Well,
beautiful now.
What's that black thing? Oh, they're taking it down now?
Well, we had a little bit of, yes. It's okay. It's centered and great and it looks cute now.
And it's never moving.
No, it's not.
I felt bad because she was on like a little getaway and she's like, look how cute it is. And I was like, uh-huh. She's like, what's wrong? And I didn't say anything. She was like, oh my God, it's not centered. I'm like, I didn't say anything. But
I have a
yes,
good post.
my OCD, yes, was the first thing I noticed. So, and I knew it would drive her crazy. So, she
Well, it was the first thing I noticed when I drove in that it had moved. So.
So I get prank for the 8th graders.
No.
Oh!
No, don't even, no. You're gonna be putting it back.
those aren't simple cups you just shove in. There's like a
There's a
process
lock
with
system.
those. Yeah.
Poor Jesse.
I was out there for 2 hours this morning and Jesse saved my life.
They like lock in the wires and.
But it is super cute. It was well worth it. I think.
All right. Committee reports. The policy committee. Ms. Keys is not here, so I'll announce that we'll have the second reading of press policy 109. And was that the only committee?
Yes. Yeah, that'd be the only thing is the second reading of Press 109.
And then we have upcoming meetings on August 2nd for curriculum, PR, buildings and grounds, and finance. All right, comments by the board. Mr. Nell, would you like to start?
Just sending condolences. I know a lot of people had, family members pass away recently, so condolences there. And I finally registered, and I can confirm that the online process was very smooth and quick. I know online was like, I don't know, but it was not what I was thinking it would be, so glad about that. I'm excited. I have a kid that can play a sport now, and so does he, so looking forward to that.
Don't forget your sports physical.
Yeah, don't forget
That's
to share
gonna
that
be
on
like
Facebook.
tricky.
That all went out, all of the tryout information out today.
Yes. I got my email, I got my text, and it's on Facebook.
Yes.
Nice job.
Get it out.
I already said something about the Eagles. So everybody's big excitement for last week. That's all I had.
I don't know that I have a whole lot. I feel behind since I missed last week. Thank you for stepping in. I mean, last month. Probably would have had a better time here, but I was. I don't know. I'm excited to continue to see the post on Facebook. The summer camp looked great. My daughter seemed to enjoy working with the kids. Maybe. And about it. I don't know. Seems like a quiet time.
Definitely that. Online registration, that was fantastic. As a parent with multiple kids in the district, that is a huge lifesaver.
And it seemed like it was updated, or the fields were a little, it looked like it looked a
It
little
was
cleaner.
nice, very seamless.
I like that it retains the information, so you're just like,
Yeah.
okay.
Like,
Yeah,
there it
that's-
is.
Yeah, that was true, but it seemed to look a little different, a little
Terry and
fresher.
Krista, they did a great job of doing a lot of those
less of a headache, didn't have to worry about it. I know with the high school, you have to bring all the documents, all that stuff, so, I mean, it is what it is. Other than that, I can't wait for the new school year to start. It'll be interesting, seeing all the new data collections and all the reports that we're doing. I know a lot of parents have questioned, especially with test scores, where the progress is. Now you can show hard data. You can see what strategies are working, what are not. These kids that are in the red, all right, we need to develop plans to help them too. And I think that was kind of the whole goal of investing in all these programs is, all right, what do the raw numbers say? What are we doing? How can we fix this? And I think that's the answer that parents, especially if they're going to invest in our district, they want to see. And I think where we're moving and progressing that way, I think it's a step in the right direction. And I can't wait to see what happens 10 years from now. Hopefully, all these kids will be like, yeah, I went to District 175. I did this. They'll be civil engineers. They'll be doctors. They'll be lawyers, whatever. Because we have teachers who care. We have staff that care. And they're identifying careers for them. And we're talking about it. We're getting to them at a younger age. And I don't think any other districts are not in this area. So it's a good job. It's a good testament to what our district is doing for our kids. I think it's good. So thank you.
I'm gonna say one thing real quick before you go. That made me think, the career unit,
Yeah.
it is still impacting my child, like, on vacation, still. Talking about,
They tell me.
like, not wasting money and, so thank you. Sorry, Rob, go ahead.
And I like to thank you for getting information on what we learned from summer school with the kids. That's very useful as far as I'm concerned. And also, I don't know if any of the rest of you know about it, but it looked like West actually dropped the uniform. I personally like it where we have it today, but it does look like they dropped it, so who knows, that may be something will hit us later.
I
But,
thought they announced that they were,
He's St. Louis.
They
Yeah,
haven't
that's
truly
relaxed.
announced, but it's been leaked out, the copy of the student handbook, that they've changed the handbook, basically saying you get into and stuff.
I think we questioned a lot whether we were gonna have to buy the khakis and all.
Well, I would say
that,
that
but we're
it's
aware of
definitely
it,
something to
yeah.
see how this year
It
goes.
was relaxed.
Yeah, and like I said, I personally like it where we have it now, I don't see a need for us to change, but that course things have changed based upon what, families tell us and stuff like that. They want to change it because of that, and that may change my mind, but right now, I don't know what it is. It's just something for us to kind of keep an eye out for.
Rochelle, it's like, what do you?
no, I don't believe myself. I'm like, what did I read about it? Like, they posted in the parent,
Yeah, we've done the same way with you, that my son was busy and then, running start, he didn't want to have to worry about the uniform when he was coming back for band.
Yeah, mine was super excited just to get out of high school, to go into college, so she didn't have dress code, and now we're here, now that it's relaxed, and she's like, well, what the? Well, that's not like this, sorry. Okay, I'll read it later.
obviously got it wrong. Okay, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the approval of minutes, payroll and bills, treasurer's report, and instruction of closed session audio.
So moved.
Discussion. Roll call.
John,
Yes.
Janelle, yes. Mandy,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Rochelle,
Yes. All right, under items for action, I need a motion to keep all executive session minutes closed through June 2022.
So moved.
second,
Any discussion?
Yeah, this is part of our biannual, we're required to do this twice a year.
Any other discussion or questions? Roll call.
Janelle, yes. Mandy,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Rochelle,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
I need a motion to approve changes to board policy as listed in press policy 109.
So moved.
second,
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mandy,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Rochelle,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Janelle, yes.
I need a motion to accept a resolution related to the 2022-23 school year reopening plans for Harmony School District 175.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion? for consideration. Under old business, this would have been items previously considered with no action. We have electric buses.
So the more I got into this and did the webinars and talked to Verigy, who we've been working with, performance contracting, this is really involved process to build this grant out. I would say even more so than the process to get solar panels. So there's quite a bit. So you have a proposal from Verigy in your packet that basically states that they help put, they're estimating anywhere around 120 hours to put this plan together to help with the actual grant writing. $15,000 if we don't move forward. Now, if we move forward, that would all be rolled in the total cost of the project. I told Gordon, I said, I'm not comfortable just with $15,000. What is the, can you give me a ballpark? Because that's where I'm at now. I don't even know what the ballpark starting line is in terms of a range of, are we talking about $1 million project, $2 million project, 500,000? A lot of it is the same with the solar, about 80 to 90% they're saying are being covered by incentives and grants and reimbursements from companies to do this. But I don't know. I said, okay, well, what's the remaining 10 to 20 or 30% look like? They couldn't give me a number. I said, well, before August 2nd, before our building and grounds and before finance, I need at least a ballpark before we consider this. What I would like to do then is I had added in, and you guys have a new updated copy that Katie made for you. They put in a $1,500 increment that they're going to do a detailed kind of budget analysis compared to what other districts are doing and comparative projects, so that we can at least have a better idea before spending $15,000 on a plan. I'm okay with spending $1,500 to really get a better idea of what we're looking at and getting into before we move forward. Because I don't know. I don't know electric vehicles and stations and power and all that needs to run to it, so I'd like to get a better idea. But that takes time and hours too. So I'm good with the initial $1,500, but I did say before that, some type of ballpark figure. I mean, give me, even if we're off by 100 or 200,000, some starting point that we have in our heads of, this is what we're getting into, because I don't feel comfortable taking things to you guys completely blind. So August 2nd, I should have more information for those committees. We'll talk about it a little bit more. If it looks good, if we think it's feasible, I'll have them proceed with the next phase, which is do a really kind of detailed budget analysis. If we're good with that, we'll move forward with a full scale that's right for the grant and all the project and see where we go from there. Sound good? Next, was asked at the last meeting for a solar report, which was great. I'm glad we did that. I don't know if you, Rob, asked for that, so that is in your packet. Right now, the brief overview is Ellis is overproducing on power and MG is underproducing. The net total is we're still overproducing and overachieving on what expectations are, or they were when we wrote for them. But it does beg to differ, why is MG not producing? And the answer is very simple. We have trees. Ours are roof mounted. We have an entire row on that south and west portion. They have an entire row that blocks in the early morning and it blocks in the later afternoon. That entire pretty much quadrant of panels. I am going to work with Nelson Tree Service again. They're going to start, in fact, I don't know if they're out there now, but they're going to start parking their trucks here again for the next 2 weeks before school starts. He did say he would prune some up, but we may get to the point of if it's worth it to you guys and you want to save a few $1,000s over however many years, you may need to remove a few trees. Because trimming them, we did that 2 years ago and they filled in like 2 months. So,
One thing I'm curious, I was doing more research on the solar panels. Do you know, do we have individual inverters on each of the panels?
not individuals. I think they're tied to a bank, so I think there's like 5 or 6, if I remember right. That goes into one, but I could be totally wrong too. It'd be something when, if Verigy comes here for the electric vehicles, we can ask them.
Yeah, because that's one thing I was looking at, that if you have things where there are trees that come into play, that if it shades over something, it basically takes down the other panels as well.
Okay.
That may not be there, if they're tied together, they all go down to the.
No, because I remember there's a bunch of inverters, because they said when they monitor them, if there's an area or panels go down, they're able to on, or just those panels or sections?
Okay, but that's section, it's not individual.
That's right, I'll have to look up. If I remember right, for some reason, I'm thinking there's a group of, and the panels are only about 2 feet wide.
Right,
I think there's like 4 or 5 in one little row tied to one inverter.
okay. Because what I was looking at was that you can get individual inverters and you daisy chain them together, but that way each panel is independent, and it was something like $60 per panel.
Okay.
So it wasn't a
We can look
huge
at it.
cost.
Next time I talk to them, I'll ask.
Yeah, and I said that's some work please asking about.
The other thing they talked about is that from January, when they looked at reports January and February, we had a lot more snowfall. Roof-mounted panels melt slower, and they're not as sloped, so the snow stays on top of the panels longer. So that's what they're also accounting for. But overall, we're still doing very well. We'll work on it. But between that and the tree shade, I think there's simple solutions, whether inverters or not, so we'll see. But otherwise, I think we're performing very well.
And the only other thing I would kind of suggest if we do look at the buses is there any possibility of adding more solar panels anywhere else, just so we don't have to pay for the electric for those buses?
That was something I did ask, is that can we look at it? He said, we'll put that in the scale of project of having even more panels on the stations out there that can help.
Yeah.
So it's something to look at, for sure. My last thing is the school resource officer. We are completely approved now. City council approved on last week on Monday, I believe. So we do have assigned copies. I think you guys might have a signed copy in front of you. I meet with Belleville Police leadership Wednesday morning. We'll talk about who our SRO is, hopefully meet the SRO, kind of outline any more details. Quick meeting, but we'll have everything solidified, so as long as you guys are good with it. If there's any concerns from anyone before Wednesday morning, just reach out to me, but otherwise, I'll sign that copy. We had already approved it at the last meeting, so we don't need to take any further action. And otherwise, we are good to go, full-time SRO, starting in fall, that we'll be able to be at both buildings, so it's exciting. And that
Anything
is
else?
it. Nope.
All right, that moves us to new business, which would be for discussion purposes only. And I had something that I wanted to bring up. I had mentioned it to Dr. Deeds, but we haven't had a chance to really talk about it. But, I know at least Tessa and I, the old people who like things not to change, and we're feeling like we're having so much change. I asked Dave if there was a chance that maybe we could schedule like a meet and greet with all of our new teachers or our new staff that was coming in, something with the board and them, because we talk about like, oh, we walk through the halls and like we don't know, we don't know all the staff anymore. And so, since it's not really our purview to like be here walking the halls and meeting everyone, I just thought it might be a nice, beginning of the school year thing to meet the new staff and, whether it be, for cookies and punch before a board meeting or something different. I just thought it would be, so again, no plan has been made. I just mentioned that I thought it would be a nice thing.
Are you guys, are you guys up for a meet and greet, and how would you like to be done? You want it after school, like 4 o'clock, 4 to 6 type deal somewhere, or do you want to do something here at campus? And I will say, to Rochelle's point, she's not the only one we say that I don't recommend. We just had that conversation earlier. They want to do I won't give away a spoiler, but, icebreaker activity for the beginning of your institute, because our teachers have said, man, we walk around, we don't know a lot of the new people, and there's so many new faces, so we're cognizant of that as well. So it would also give an opportunity for some of our new teachers to get together as well. Would you guys like it? What type of format? Anyone partial to anything?
I think I don't really care what it is, but something at least relaxed enough where, I don't want it like us sitting at the table and them like at least relaxed enough that we're like walking around and being really like, whether we just, do something here and walk around, or if it, not looking to like shell out a fortune or anything, but something. Have the ice cream truck pull up and be on the lawn.
That sounds fantastic.
When, when you sell me that bus, I'll,
So I just want to make that just
Kill in teachers.
Don't do it in the middle of the week though.
So we'll get back to, we'll get some ideas, and then, we'll put something fun together. Okay.
And I guess I got one quick thing too. Heard some more things about the stuff that happened in Texas, and kind of made me curious about what we have here. Can the teacher actually lock their door from inside the classroom, or do they have to exit?
No, they have interior keys. Every one of our locks, we do practice that with them. The interior of every lock is all one key. So everyone's outside doors are all individually keyed to their room, but every interior cylinder, you can close it from any room that you're in. So if you're somewhere else and you have your key interchange, which a lot of teachers do, they can be in any room, they can be in the, wherever. They can close it from the inside. So they don't have to go in the hallway and things. But we have talked about trying tonight, and part of our goal, and something I talked with Bella about, that the SRO will be big on, is implementing exercises and professional development, training techniques. It's probably been 5 or 6 years since we've done the 4 E's with escape, evade, engage, and educate. Even if you don't have your key, how can you lock your door, or by tying up your jam? And so just alternative ways that it's not always best to even just hide in the corner. If you're on the opposite side of the room, get out, like get your kids, hit the woods. So there's a lot of things that I'm hoping to do as sort of help work with the staff and do some PD on.
Yeah, that's the one thing I was kind of curious about, because when I heard that, yeah, that those teachers couldn't lock their doors or anything from the inside, even the outside doors can only be locked from the outside. So, yeah, okay, I understand maybe why they did it, but to me, it's still kind of crazy.
And I will say that's one thing over the last several years, we've been very positive. If keys aren't working, our doors aren't working, they've been great about saying, hey, we need to get this, we need to change locks. We're keeping, is it A Action, or is that door company that we have out of this area that we?
Yeah, but the new audio system helps with that too.
Yeah, our new audio system will help with the emergency response. Something we looked at was fobs. It was brought up in the year. Fobs for some of our key doorways that are like our recess doors that are propped open at times. These are always in and out, keeping those locked and then giving those aids fobs to get them instead of the cases. So we're constantly evaluating. I'm hopeful our new SRO will help identify even more areas to continue it.
And there's an interior key in every single classroom, in every single closet, and every door that can be locked. So if you as a teacher are walking down with your kids and you forgot your key, you can go into any room and lock your door because there's a key in it.
Okay.
Which is also really helpful. That could be helpful.
I don't know that it's like standard practice, but like putting a doorstop in the door from, like once you lock your door and jamming one of those doors.
Those are things that one training taught.
Yeah.
It's been a while. I mean, we need a refresh on things like that. For sure.
But necessary. Anyone else with new business?
We're still having one. Let's go.
Public and employee comments is the next section now. Anyone? No one?
Well, since you asked,
I'll always ask.
I mentioned, I don't know if Mrs. Kramer shared with Mrs. Lons, but we have good news that we are getting our new cameras installed in the buses. I hope to have them all installed before school starts, but we were able to negotiate a better price than I was originally quoted. Did a little politicking with the salespeople up at the conference in Springfield last month. And we're getting quote unquote by their CEO priority service because their salesman, I called him and told him that I've gotten permission from Dr. Dietz to go ahead and I called him a week later to see how progress, well, I forgot to turn in your order, I said you did what? So I immediately got an email within 15 minutes from 2 different people at the company, and when I responded, I included the fact that I was very concerned that our order hadn't been turned in timely. 5 months later, I got an email from the CEO stating that our order had been moved up he's gonna have us, or his suggested routings to us by August 1st, and hopefully we'll be able to save a little money, so. That's what's going.
The trade-off is gonna be, we've talked about it, it's something longstanding, bus times, how long kids will be in the bus, because remember, if every bus you consolidate, that it makes a longer route. So that's where we're gonna be cognizant of route times, but also, the door-to-door. So we'll look out, but I do appreciate, very much looking at the numbers and trying to be efficient, especially at a time where it's hard to get drivers and aides, really maximizing our routes and money. And he's also been, I don't want to give away, but doing some bidding online for a larger passenger bus, because we do a lot of field trips where we're just over capacity for our 70, 72. If we have a larger one, we can take one large bus instead of two buses, so he's been looking at a larger 84 passenger, I think.
I'm learning that, in fact, I'm bidding on one online right now, it's an 84 passenger. Then I made sure it met Illinois specs, and so I'll let you know how it goes. I lost out on one of the last, the bidding ended Saturday morning at 11:27, and I put in a bid at 11:25, and the other bidder that wanted the bus got his in just before it closed, so.
Was it meant to be?
And then I know I missed a meeting about the cameras. I know Rob had asked before about when we were looking at cameras, if they connected to us viewing them or just.
That option is available, but it's very expensive.
Okay, that's what I figured, but I was just, again,
We
since
did,
I had
it was
missed.
really,
We looked at it, and it was the difference between a bid of about 33,000 and a bid of about 90,000.
I wouldn't have thought that much, but.
And one other thing, you'll notice in your bid packet that Dr. Dietz, I'm sure, probably included my memo, but we had a new employee who, in the first 45 days or less, missed 7 times, and 3 of those times.
we'll talk about that, that's not this session.
Oh, I got you, I understand.
I
Anyway, I did do my due diligence, so.
That's for closed session.
Change the subject, but thank you so much for outside picking up trash the other day.
Well,
So how awesome was that to see you?
the wind blows a lot of trash into our yard, and I kind of like my bus lot to be neat, so once in a while I walk through there and pick up the trash.
We thank you for that.
Thank you.
All right, any other public and employee comment?
I just have one question since we were talking about the security stuff. Is there any talk about the latchkey hours, the door being more secured during that time? Because it was just.
Yes, if you want to wait till right when we get closed, I'll talk to you after we're done with this open session. Yep. Or if you can.
All right, anything else? All right, so, upcoming board activities is the next section. So in August, we have the approval of the tentative fiscal year 2022-23 budget. In September, we adopt the budget resolution and the budget. Then we also approve the FY22 district audit if it's completed. And we approve the seniority list for the 22-23 school year. Then in October, we receive the 22-23 school and district report cards. All right, at this time, if there's nothing further, I need a, it's not checked, but I need to, this is low. Okay, never mind, I got myself confused because it wasn't checked. It's not a big deal, it's me. At this time, I need a motion to move into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in an educational setting, or specific volunteers in the district or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in an educational setting, a volunteer of the district, or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee of a public body that is subject to the Local Government Wage Increase and Transparency Act may not be closed and shall be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with this act. negotiating matters or deliberations between the district and its employees or their representatives, or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Janelle, yes. Mandy,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Rochelle.
Yes. All right, so we will have items for action when we return from closed session. And Dr. Dukes, do you want to take a guesstimate
30 minutes,
on this list?
30, 40 minutes.
All right.
Under 30.